so unsure as I take your hand and lead you to the dance floor. As the music dies, something in your eyes calls reminders of a scream, and all it said goodbyes. I'm never gonna dance again. Guilty feet have got no rhythm, though it's easy to pretend. I know you're not a fool. Should've known better than to cheat a friend and waste the chance that I've been given. So I'm never gonna dance again the way I danced with you. Oh, oh.
Good morning.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Everyone should now stop headbanging in their homes. Good morning. Good morning, world. Good morning, America. It's the end of the week as we know it. And as usual, I would like to introduce our panel today. As always, we have our lovely Chenda with us. Chenda, how are you doing today?
Good. You guys are so warped. That was just freaking hilarious, that song.
Yeah. And I would like to introduce Amos Elroy from New Jersey also. Amos, how are you doing?
All right.
Okay. And Oz, who came with the brilliant idea, to entertain us with Careless Whisper. We supposedly, Kamala and Joe were sitting yesterday, in Joe's bunker basement, and they were listening to Careless Whisper as well. You can see they're so in love. So we are not sure if Joe knows exactly who this person is next to him. Anyway, we're talking about this a little bit later. As usual, we would start, with a view back in history. And, it's Woodstock time. In 1969 today, the Woodstock Festival was opened. And wow, I gotta say, at this time, I was 2 years old. I did not get too much from this, But I have to say that Woodstock and this music also was a big influence in my music taste, and it was an important thing at that time. We also can discuss what came out of it, This is a complete different topic, This generation, what brought this generation, and how far did they succeed or not? Everyone should judge for himself. We are seeing here some photos. We saw the tickets first, and now we are seeing another aspect of Woodstock. We see a lot of garbage which was left there. At this time, it was nothing which was that much in the conscience of the people, things we today have to fight and which were unknown at that time. And anyway, from the musical point, it was a very thrilling lineup we saw there. We had Joe Cocker there, Janis Joplin. We had so many others. We had Sly and the Family Stone. It was a great concert. Jimi Hendrix, yes. I think everyone here from our audience, especially, knows the movie Woodstock, and yes, it's great. And I think everyone would have loved to be there at that time. And for those guys, who organized this, at first it did not seem to be such a success. They estimated only a crowd of about 50,000 people. In the end, it was about more than 400,000 at this at Woodstock, at this area, and it was, you can imagine, it's crazy, 400,000 people there and celebrating, and it was a great event. And it's, as you can see, 400,000 people, and problems with the money. The guys thought they were bankrupt, but they came to the brilliant idea because they had all the music taped, which were performed there, and in the end, it was their fortune that they got this, and they made a good buck out of it in the end. Well, Do you guys have anything what you have in mind with Woodstock and how far this touched you? I would like to start with Jana.
Yeah, so I was raised by hippies. That's how I got my name. My mother and my aunt were young teenage mothers, during the summer of love. And, as Chris Hedges says, grief is the opposite of hope. And I look back and I watch a lot of documentaries and I have grief. I just have grief that the power and the change that they were seeking, just kind of the wave broke and nothing came of it. Hunter S. Thompson breaks it down so beautifully when he says in 74 from Vegas you could look back and see where the wave broke of energy that was generated by this movement. And I have to ask myself, I'm perplexed at how this generation that was so hell-bent on breaking society's norms are now the baby boomers that are suppressing and holding us back from so many things that we need, education and healthcare, and it goes on and on. So, I have grief and I'm perplexed. I'm just sad that they didn't see their dreams come to fruition.
Yes, exactly. And if I look back at this, mostly there are quoted two incidents which led to the downfall of the hippie movement, if you want. So one was the festival. I don't know exactly where it was right now, where the Rolling Stones and the Hells Angels, had trouble. With one was stabbed to death and. Lots of violence at this concert. The other one is connected with the Manson family, and two incidents. I don't know if these are only the two incidents. I think there are much more things in it. Maybe a good portion of naivety also in this movement. I don't know. Oz, what do you think?
Well, I think that I'm trying to figure out how to reignite this kind of movement in this day and age as to what Shanda just pointed out. It's grief, it's despair, it's disappointment that you could go from hippie to yuppie in actually a really short time period as far as ideology. But I think the Reagan administration, that me generation, took hold like a cancer on the minds of these people and made them capitalist to the core. It's not going to end well. And as far as the music, nothing like it. I know each generation tends to group around their music, but when you think about the AI and the computer generation, it's augmenting voices that maybe shouldn't be augmented. When those voices back then were the heart and soul of what music is all about, Hendrix and the Doors, Jefferson Airplane. I mean, that's right, my reminiscence. So anyway, long story short, until we get out on the streets and not just a general strike, we need a real strike, pulse striking and things like that, because voting for Trump or Biden, that's not going to solve shit. It's just going to put on a really bad thing on steroids going down in the future.
Yeah. I share your sentiments what the music concerns, and and it is also interesting, what came from what became to the music, and especially to the music industry. It was completely bought. It was bought and sold, and it became an article to consume, and that's it. And if you look at today's music, or not only today, you can go back a few exceptions, in the past decades. Or maybe one decade back, there is not much left, which you can say, there is a real message behind. There are single artists who are doing this, but it is not comparable, to what was in the 60s at that time, right? And of course, I would not like to leave out Amos. Amos, your thoughts on Woodstock and how far you are?
I wasn't alive, of course. I mean, I was alive, but I wasn't at the age where I could consume any of this. But I think that it had a tremendous effect on U.S. politics from that point on, because that single event was kind of like a symbol or culmination of the flower power. And I think the political establishment got frightened to death by this movement that was calling for peace, love, abolition of arms, all this kind of stuff. and I think that kind of launched a counter revolution at the that followed that suppressed all of these Nixon, and then every other regime after that, or every other political establishment tried to kind of usurp that and like squelch it in various ways, social, financial, and others, so economic. So I think it had a tremendous effect on the trajectory of the politics till this day. I think we're just at the point where we're starting to come out of it.
Okay. All right. So this was Woodstock. And we are going over to our next topic. And of course, it is time to talk about the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party and all the stuff which happens this week. The nomination of Kamala Harris, the very strange Democratic Convention speakers list, and the general thought I have, when I saw the speakers list, we have it also here in the slides. It told me enough. It told me everything we would need to know about the next 4 years in case the Democrats would take over. You see the person of yesterday right at the beginning. Bernie Sanders, opening this ridiculous farce. In my opinion, this convention is a complete farce. And then on Tuesday, you get honored by a 60-second clip from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and that's it. This is all what a progressive-minded, still Democratic-leaning voter can expect from their party. In the following, they have people like Michael Bloomberg, who was updated, who will speak at this event. You have guys like Mnuchin from the Republican Party, which nobody can get. And it shows clearly. It shows clearly that the Democratic Party has nothing to offer. They only have 3 topics. There are 3 topics. The first one is Trump, the second one is Trump, and the third one is Trump. And there's nothing else left. And I don't know who will watch this farce. I chose only to watch it in extracts. Because I think it would be too boring. And the lineup says clearly you got the Clintons there. What do you expect? What do you think? What this party do for you in the next 4 years? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. They would oust the progressive minds. They are fighting a lost fight, in my opinion. In my opinion, it was time. Directly after the election, as I said, the weeks before, okay, it's enough now. We supported Biden. It's enough now. We are going. We would need a third party option, because I don't understand, for example, AOC, that she agreed to do a 60-second clip at home, pre-recorded. The Democratic Party is too frightened that to put her on live. What do you expect? I'm asking, and so in my opinion, the Democratic Party is a complete dead horse, and it is a failure to think you can ride a dead horse. You can't move just 1 inch with it, and I think it is time that the squad, that AOC and all the other progressive minds, see the facts, see the reality, and say, okay, that's it. Let's find another way, and we need progressive minds, but we don't need them in the Democratic Party, because this is a waste of time anyway, right? And this is how I think about the Democratic Party. I think they are just as ruined as the Republican Party is, and well, it's too short, to come up with a third party right now. Maybe there is a small chance, that Jesse Ventura gets in somehow if he gets, I don't know, if he gets pushed enough to do this. I don't know how his chances are, but we have to face reality. It's either Trump or Biden. No one would help. The other one would maybe fasten the downfall, and the other one would prolong it. And that's the question right now. But I don't think that you can expect anything from those two parties. So I think the moment is ripe now to say, okay, you got how many millions on the street right now who lost their homes? You got 67,000 who died from the coronavirus. Well, if not now, when? You need a third party, at least one third party, maybe a fourth or a fifth, if that's possible. But it cannot go on, in my opinion, with those parties.
We do have more parties. It's just that they don't
Yeah,
get traction.
but the system is made for two parties, and that's the problem of it. And this has to overcome. I don't know how and why, but what should you guys wait for? I don't know. But Amos, I interrupted you. What do you say?
No, I just jumped in. I do somewhat disagree with you that it's a complete lost cause, though I think that it would be a good thing if there was a third party that would kind of force even the Democrats to start moving in that direction seriously, because there would be a threat to their mandate, to their vote. I think ultimately it's going to be very difficult or very long term to oust a second party out of position, and I don't know if we have that time. So ideally, having a third party would cause that to happen. And look at what progressives have achieved so far in the last 4 years, starting with Bernie Sanders launching this whole election, and I think he has changed the topics, he's changed the discussion, and even candidates that may be considered more conservative are using some of his policies to appeal to that audience. So I think we have gotten advancement in that regard, and I think there is a wave coming. We're already seeing progressives getting votes and ousting establishment candidates or incumbents that were taking positions. So I don't see it as bleakly, looking at it all in all.
Okay, Jana? Jana, do you want to?
Well, it's straight up gaslighting to tell anybody that they will hold Biden accountable or the Democrats accountable after they're elected. You can't hold anybody accountable while you're still supporting them and voting for them. And I refuse to be a cog in this death machine, this war machine that is the neo-lib policy. Where is the anti-war party that was there in the late 60s and early 70s? There is no anti-war facet of the Democratic Party anymore. That's a big deal breaker for me. But as far as Green parties, I voted Green Party in 2016. I will not be voting Green Party this time around because there's two deal breakers. They support the Russiagate narrative, their candidate does, and they also support the prosecution of Julian Assange. And right there, those are two deal breakers. So, I'll either be writing in Bernie or, I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet. But
does your state allow?
This is part of the reason that the Green Party will not be viable.
Chanda, does your state allow writing in? Because not all the states allow that.
Yep. I am not a swing state, and I can write in. So my vote is what it is.
All right, Oz, what do you have in mind?
Well, what I've got in mind is I've noticed a couple of comments in the chat. This graphic behind me. Remember what George Carlin said, it's a big club, baby, and you ain't in it. So what I'm advocating here and what I think about all this, it's another election cycle where we're being told this is the most important election of all time. The world's going to come to an end unless you vote for the corrupt criminals, against the corrupt criminal, the guys that rigged the election, the guys that have lied all their careers. We need to vote them in to replace the liar in chief who's lied all of his careers, who got in. It's like, really? What kind of math is that? And, in all fairness to those to think that, we have to, who do you want to battle the most? Biden, or do you want to fight Trump? Well, you know what? That's just a straw man to me, because you're going to be fighting both of them no matter what. It's just going to be a little bit quicker on some of the shittier policies or moves of fascism by Trump, but Biden's going to do the same thing as the Democratic Party has for the last 4 fucking decades. So this is where the debate ends for me. There's no debate on this. You can't replace a criminal with another criminal. We have one party in this country. It's the party of the wealth, the overlord oligarchs of the country. So do I have a solution? Well, what are we going to do, Oz? Well, what the hell do you think we need to do? We need to grow a set of guts, get out on the streets, shut the whole motherfucker down. We need to have real strikes, not just a general strike that they can pack around and plan for. We need to get out there and wildcat around the country and make life so miserable for these sons of bitches that purport to represent us instead they represent the oligarchs, the wealthy. Jesus Christ, it's more than clear. Our election system is corrupted and rigged, and I'll give you the last 2 primaries as my example. So I might be a little outspoken, a little passionate about this, but I'm not unique, goddammit. I bet you everybody in this fucking chat is all over this shit. They're sick and tired of getting bent over and burned down. We got to stop the usual process. Sure, go ahead and vote. Vote for whoever the hell you want. It's not going to matter in the end, because we're all going to die. The planet's burning up. Our people are getting sick, and neither party's going to give us health care or anything else. Is that a good response?
I share your sentiment, but what is your solution?
Election.
What is your solution? What's going to
happen? The solution is
going to be better.
The solution is go ahead and vote. We're going to get what we're going to get out of this election, but we have to fight them now, not after they get in office. We've got to fight both fronts. We've got to expose them for the criminality and what they're doing to us on a daily basis. Jesus Christ, the body bags are packing miles high every day. Neither party's doing anything about it. They went on vacation because they're all good. The stock market's doing great. The 1% is just loving this. So this is either a purge or a full grab for total fascism. This is lovely for both sides. It has split the country so hard. It's not us who are going to be splitting the country. It's the oligarchs. So the solution, you asked for my suggestion, is get out in the damn streets when you can, wherever you can, take over the media, do everything, but don't play their game. That's all I can say. Vote if you want, but forget it.
Well, for me, as a German, as a European, it is quite difficult to advise. I talked to this with a panel in the green room earlier, and I said the question is, and this question there are only you who can answer it. Is yes, how much is it worth? How much life is it worth to cost? To get either the one or the other solution. With Trump, I can understand both sentiments. I can understand those who say, okay, fuck it, let it do Trump another 4 years and then the shit ends much faster. I can also understand those who are worried, who say, okay, maybe we can find solutions within the Democratic Party. They did not give up hope completely. In my personal opinion, I think it leads to nowhere. But I can understand both sides. What we all know, and where we all in the same boat, is that we all know that the time frame, that the time window is closing. and it's closing faster and faster and faster. We talked about what's going on in Siberia. We have a drought here in Germany. In some regions, the water usage is reduced. This is a scenario. This is only a little piece of what we are going to see in the future, and we have so much things going on. It is a crazy situation, and well, as I said, I cannot advise in this situation. You have to say how much is it worth, to do either the one, vote for Trump, or do the other, vote for Biden. Yeah. Well, that's a discussion.
I greatly agree with that. I think that's the problem. I mean, if we're going to have let it all burn to the ground attitude, then we're starting from less than zero, and the likelihood is that it's going to deteriorate to worse authoritarianism rather than a better situation. And we've lost the battle on the global climate crisis for sure. Just doing it in the 99th minute and the 59th minute, it's not going to help our environment. So I'm into looking pragmatically into any solution that we can still survive this and keep on battling and keep on forcing the establishment to reckon with the people.
Yes, yes, I agree. But we are living in times, we are living in times in which science and facts, are not facts anymore. They got softened and softened. And if you talk about a topic, and you agree, on a certain method to talk about a topic, then it would end, in my opinion, in a scientific way to judge a problem or a thing. And if this is taken away, if this already is questioned, well, then a discussion or a debate gets very, very difficult, if not impossible, right?
I think we're much closer to. We're close on all of this, and almost credit to your point. I agree, and yet I disagree. Shanda, what do you think? I mean, we're in a race not only to save the planet, but the singularity is looming more and more with each day coming by. And for those that, the singularity is when AI decides that it doesn't need the human meat sacks anymore on the planet. So with all these great gains and with, the rhetoric around, AI is going to save our butts, the AI is going to save our butts by putting us out of our misery. And we just had Quantum Leap on Shanda. She'll be right back. You're back. But yeah, that's the other thing I'm looking at is there are so many variables here. This incrementalism, sure, we may stay the fight for another day, but unless we go after the climate and healthcare and wars of empire and destroying the planet, we're not going to make any inroads. We're making a little bit here or there, but remember, you guys, these fools, we might be the fools. They are managing the opposition now because they have the money and the means to manage us. That's how they can get away with rigging elections and making it look like Joe Biden's an angel when him and Barack Obama themselves had a hand in doing that, or at least the Biden was accomplice, but the rest of the establishment has that. So remember that. They're managing the opposition because they have all the power and control. So
and is it working for them in all cases? I can't see it working for them in the ultimate run. We're seeing all these establishment Democrats being voted out here and there. And that's going to just continue and increase. So I don't see that. I don't see that game, even if they are not aware of it, and not they probably are. But even they might be thinking that it's not going to work that way. It is.
To your point, Amos.
The more young people go out and become part of our system, the more that's going to be the case.
Yeah. Well, to your point, Amos, absolutely. But do the math. it's not, it's going to be so long, so far down the road. We're talking 20, 30 years at this pace of getting anywhere. So that's I'll throw that back at you. Yeah. It's working for them strictly from the standpoint of time.
Right.
Did we lose everybody?
No.
Okay, we're still there, but I almost
Revolving heads.
we're quantum bouncing here, but no, truly, I appreciate your points, and again, I'm not suggesting anybody not vote where others are. They're saying don't invest in the system, don't qualify. But I'm certainly going to vote, but I don't have a lot of faith in my vote affecting really anything because they've been throwing out ballots for the last 4 decades, and they're going to micromanage or what do they call that when they fraction magicking these assholes in? They've got the systems, and with the move now to get rid of the sorters at the post office and break the post office on Trump's side, that's just more election rigging. So are the Democrats not doing the same thing? Hell no, they're doing the same thing, because if they weren't, they would be screaming bloody murder about, really bloody murder about what's going on right now with the pandemic stimulus. Yet instead they said, okay, fuck you. When you want to talk, come back. We're going to go on vacation too, though. So, and the Republicans, they had Trump with his executive orders take that whole thing out of their hands. So they look like they don't have to worry about it because it's on Trump. And the Democrats, they should stay in session until they get something for the people. That would be showing, some real strength of courage. Thus is my point. They're both one party. They're just playing us for suckers across the board, and they're going to crash us, and they're going to make the separation of the 1% and the poor even worse. Again, that's not going to help anybody in the end, because we're going to fry.
All right, with this perspective, I think we should go on and let's have a look at Biden's, or let's say the Democratic Party's vice president pick, Kamala Harris. And to me personally, it was not a surprise. I said this for months already, that my money would go into Kamala Harris, because she has everything, everything a woman must have, in the Democratic Party as a vice president for Joe Biden and for the Democratic Party. Everything the establishment likes to see. I think most of us know about her past, where she was attorney in California, state attorney, I think it was, right, or district attorney at that time. We know that people who served in jail were held there longer than their sentence was, because in those prisons, they had some free rooms, and they wanted to occupy those rooms with those people. We know that she went very, very harsh against people with weed, especially black people. We can remember when she was proud to co-sign the healthcare bill with Bernie Sanders, and it didn't took her 24 hours to go to the next meeting or to the next town hall. I think it was a small town hall at that time, and to flip-flop again, that it is not meant that way, and she would do everything, to fight for the insurance company, etc. And the flip-flopping is something we know from her. I found a piece of her, of a scientist. I got the link below the video, and she is examining the role of women, especially black women, in the society. And she was asked by the interviewer how far the black community especially the women, are thrilled about Biden's pick. And what she said was not quite good for Kamala Harris. If you look at the primaries, where she was only ranked third or fourth of all candidates, favorability, she did not resonate with the black community, you know. And in this article, it is clearly said that she is no one which is preferred by the black community. There's one question: how do you think Harris will shape Biden's campaign and his policies differently from other women on his shortlist? And there she says, I think she will be asked to be the intermediary around Black Lives Matter policy. I think she'll be asked to move the agenda closer to the center-right in ways that are palatable to voters. This is exactly the thing which the black community doesn't seem to buy from her, because she is not a black African American, and this is one aspect. She the interview says another aspect for the community is that she is married to a white male, and there's much difference to what the people felt at the time. For example, with Michelle Obama at that time, because she had the black community had the feeling that she is one of them, and with this constellation, nobody in the black community has the feeling that there is something. They were taking care of the black people there, you know, and with her history as a prosecutor, well, it doesn't show her in a good light, you know. And what is astounding is that that lots of people, you know, even from some liberals or progressives sometimes, are happy with the pick, you know. And it is interesting. She explains all this, you know, and the question was, I'm wondering about the people who will be really, really excited to vote for Harris. The ones who will be knocking on doors with Kamala signs and donating money because she's on the ticket. Who are those people? And the answer is, they are my good white liberal friends, the people who will feel really good about voting for a black woman, the people who are supportive of Black Lives Matter, who are sending checks, who already have been who already have their Biden law signed up. They don't understand how black people might see this pick from a different point of view, you know. And well, I don't know in how far she has a couple of weeks' time, you know, to turn the view of the black community on her, but well, you know, it is not the first pick of the black community, as she is labeled to be the solution for the Democratic Party, you know, to reach those voters. Yeah.
She's betrayed them over and over. I mean, look at her statements on the Colin Kaepernick take a knee. She said that was conspiracy pushed by Russian bots. No, it wasn't.
Yes, there's only one example. I also got one, and also if you can show the video. I think this one shows really who Kamala Harris is.
Be standing here were it not for the education I received. And I know many of us will say the same thing. And I believe a child going without an education is tantamount to a crime. So I decided I was going to start prosecuting parents for truancy. Well, this was a little controversial in San Francisco. And frankly, my staff went bananas. They were very concerned because we didn't know at the time whether I was going to have an opponent in my re-election race. But I said, look, I'm done. This is a serious issue, and I've got a little political capital, and I'm going to spend some of it. And this is what we did. We recognized that in that initiative, as a prosecutor and law enforcement, I have a huge stick. The school district has got a carrot. Let's work in tandem around our collective objective and goal, which is to get those kids in school. So, to that end, on my letterhead, now let me tell you something about my letterhead. When you're the DA of a major city in this country, Usually the job comes with a badge. And there is often an artistic rendering of said badge on your stationery. So I sent a letter out on my letterhead to every parent in the school district, outlining the connection that was statistically proven between elementary school truancy, high school dropouts, who will become a victim of crime, and who will become a perpetrator of crime. We sent it out to everyone. A friend of mine actually called me and he said, Kamala, my wife got the letter. She freaked out. She brought all the kids into the living room, held up the letter, said, if you don't go to school, Kamala's going to put you and me in jail. Yes, we achieved intended effect.
Yeah.
This one personally pisses me off because I was that single mother with teenagers and I was constantly in juvenile court for truancy. And all it did was lay out a lifelong road for my children of problems where they wouldn't have had them before if we weren't forced to go through that system, which was modeled after what she did.
Well, yes. Thank you for this. I didn't know this. It's terrible. And well, when I heard this, I think the first thought was, if I was working for Walt Disney, she would be the perfect witch for my next cartoon movie, perfect. The other thing is I was asking myself, who is she talking about? Is she talking about the Cosby family? But she's not talking about, exactly those are the families who have already problems. They don't need not right. more problems, and especially they don't need not more money taken away from them, or landing in jail or something like this. I think this is ridiculous, and her giggling, that she was so satisfied about her coup, it was disgusting, and I think it says a lot about her, a lot about her character.
The school to prison pipeline, which she's supported her whole entire career. We know that she's kept men in jail past their conviction dates just so she had free slave wages or labor. Not only has she done that, but she hid evidence that led to people being convicted. 1,900 marijuana convictions under her belt, and she wouldn't wipe those records, claimed they had to wait till she was out of office in order to get the records expunged for that, which holds people back in America. They can't get jobs. They can't get applications for loans and things because of these charges that are on them. And then she has the audacity to laugh about it. She's destroying lives and giggling about it.
Yeah.
Regarding that specifically, that thing with the marijuana incidents, apparently she has not done any marijuana cases on their own, like on basis of that, and whatever marijuana persecutions were done were pushed to other courts. So they haven't really gone after marijuana the way other persecutors have in that state. So that actually kind of...
No, but the hypocrisy was her laughing and saying she smoked pot while listening to Tupac, but yet she destroyed people's lives. She did prosecute. They may have pushed some of those cases off towards the end, but she did. She did prosecute marijuana smokers.
Well, not singly as marijuana cases. They were secondary or third charges in other cases. But I see. The thing is, when I heard the news on the day that it was announced, I called Marcus and cried on his shoulder because I felt it was such a slap in the face to all progressives. And I really took it hard. And then the next day I started researching whatever I could about her to figure out what is the truth. So where am I just being affected by my personal? I find
I had
her
to ask
very,
myself that too.
Sorry.
I had to ask myself that too. Am I using my privilege?
I don't know if I was trying to figure out if it was just my personal antipathy that was coloring my view, or if it was anything objective. And I recommend, regarding those times that she was a prosecutor, of which is a lot of talk and a lot of criticism, I would recommend you looking at a link that I put in the notes of Democracy Now! Actually interviewing two people. One professor was a journalist. that wrote that she was not a progressive prosecutor, and one the public defendant that worked at the same time that actually says that she was progressive. Both those women are progressive themselves. And it was a very, very interesting and enlightening discussion. I recommend everybody who wants to really figure out what this woman's about to listen to that. I don't like her. I find this clip also very unsettling and unappetizing. But we have to look at the whole picture and to see what the situation is. And when I looked at the
what about her refusal to prosecute pedophiles?
Sorry?
What about her refusal to prosecute pedophile priests?
I'm not familiar with that particular criticism, but I know that she's gone after she's like refused to do a death penalty when a policeman was attacked, and they wanted to put the person who murdered him to death. And then later on, because it was very difficult for her to cope with the backlash of that political backlash, and since she needed the police, she backstepped on that. So you could say that she's playing things whenever she can, but she's very easily dissuaded or gets back. And we've seen that also in the Medicare for All, that initially she was one of the signers to it and kind of pioneered in that direction, and then she just drew all the way back. So
pioneer crap. She coattailed it. She jumped on Bernie's coattails so she could be on stage next to him. And then the minute that there was pushback from the establishment, she walked it back.
Yeah, but the fact that she even went
was
there
not an
when
architect
others did not. What's that?
She was not an architect. We'd already been on the ground for years and years fighting for it.
Right, but the fact that she went all out and supported it initially also means something.
For a week?
It's irrelevant. I mean, the fact
it's
that
it's not irrelevant. I don't see how you think it is irrelevant. That it's relevant.
Because you're missing my point. My point is that she's aware of the power of progressives and where things are going, and she knows at some point she has to appeal to them.
No,
and
they don't.
And because of that, there is more of a chance of being able to push her than someone who doesn't even care about.
That's gaslighting, almost. That's gaslighting. You can't push
disagree.
somebody. No. The only people that are going to push her are the donors and the pleos of the party.
Well, we've seen her actions around it. So let's look at her record. I investigated. I researched her record in Congress with the regular sites that we use for political research, and that's the GovTrack, that's the Political Compass, and the Open Secrets. And if you go to the Political Compass, I've put a slide in there for you. They used an analysis on their end, and no, that's the GovTrack map. There's one with a map with the quadrants. So basically, they plotted all of the primary candidates on basis of their positions. You can see Sanders at the very lower green quadrant, pretty much to the top, and but he's still in the green quadrant. You can see Biden in the blue dot, and you can see where Harris is. And Harris is basically more autocratic than Biden, but more to the left, and she's much more to the left than Buttigieg and some of the other.
Okay, I'll give you that.
But excuse me, Amos, if I got to interfere in this. But what does it mean that she is a little bit more left? She is still in the blue field, you know. And she is, if I compare it, she is miles away from Bernie Sanders, Hawkins, Gabbard. She is miles away. sorry, I think this is a little bit constructed.
You're correct. We're talking about everything in relations. So if we're talking about like, she's not worse than Biden. That's what I'm saying. She's a little bit better than Biden.
She's
If
not
we're
that.
going to
She's
swallow
not
Biden,
that.
we might as
she's
well
okay.
swallow her. The reason I spent all this time on the research on her is because I feel that this vice president nomination is more important than previous ones, because we have an aging candidate that is losing his mind, and I fear that at some point they will become the vice president will have to fill that role. So that's why it is so critical to understand. If you go on to my map, by the way, I was curious about it and I plotted my based on the questionnaire. Everybody can go on that site, and there's like a basically a line of questions you do, and
you're a fucking communist, Amos.
I'm a communist.
You commie.
So yeah, so that's that. I was just curious about it. You can go to that. It's a fun thing to do. Politicalcompass.com.
Okay, so I just have one question. If she's left of Biden, why did she vote twice with Republicans to cut funding for abortions?
I can't answer that, but
that's not left of Biden, because I don't know. Biden wasn't cutting access to women's health.
I don't know. I don't know what the story is. I would have to research it. I can come back to you next week and figure out what happened. Look at the other graphs. That is the one with the many dots. That's the basically GovTrack. GovTrack is a site that kind of tracks all the policies and the votes and everything of each candidate, and they analyze on basis of that. If you look there, you can see, and they rated Harris as in place of 99 to the left in Senate, right after Sanders. So pretty much all the way to the left compared to Senate. Now you could say that's doesn't say much, because the Senate is not necessarily a progressive body, but in the scheme of things, to me it has a weight. Also, and that's based on actual policies and things that she's done. For example, she's had the least co-sponsored by aisle legislations that she has signed on to. I looked at what she voted for. Mostly they're not very important things. I think she may have stayed away from some of the critical votes, but the ones that she has voted suggest some pattern. And finally, there's the open secrets, and I was curious, where is she getting the money? Because we know that she has. She is not accepted. She's not gone by the direction that Sanders has, and she has not refused to accept PACs or money or private money. And so that was an important thing for me. Where did her funds go? And if you switch to that slide, basically there's a couple of them. There's the top contributors, and we see that there is a lot of contributors that are media, entertainment, and attorneys, lawyers, and so forth. I've not seen any footprint from fossil fuel companies, from pharmaceuticals, for any of those things that could be the most problematic. So though she's not really gone the way that Sanders has by refusing private funds and gone actually the opposite direction, I think it could have been worse. It could have been much worse. And finally, I found something that goes back to what we discussed earlier of what it is, like the rigged system. And she shows here in that tweet that she does understand the importance of the HR1 legislation that was attempted in the House, and she supported it, and that is really the key to any other thing. If we are to succeed in moving the dial, we need to change how elections are done, how elections are funded in this country. We have to have a much more public funding, and take these corporations out of the dominant role that they have right now. And I think that's kind of encouraging to see that she's at least in principle sided with that. We'll see. We'll have to see what happens. I'm not saying that we shouldn't be pushing and protesting and maybe doing a third party and all of that. But I think that my mind is a little calmer after doing this whole rigmarole in research. And I think comparing it to somebody who's closing in post offices to rig an election and is fully with an autocratic mind, I think I'm much more comfortable with that. Let alone to mention that she's one of the signers on the Green New Deal. That is to me, but that is to me the most important thing right now that we're facing, the most emergent thing. If we don't fix the climate change, we're toast, like Oz said, and having someone who's supported it, even if it just in principle at this point, is light years far away from Trump and his guys who are presenting Democrats as negative because they're against fossil fuels. That's a bad thing. So yeah, that's my take on this. Well,
right.
what do you guys?
Okay, if I may quickly, well, I admire your optimism there.
Yeah.
What this woman concerns. I don't have this optimism. Absolutely not. The pick, the vice president pick. I'm asking you guys. I asked Chanda, Oz, Amos. Do you think that Biden picked her or the establishment picked her?
Establishment.
Chris Dodd was running his VP campaign.
Chris Dodd
Right.
picked her. Actually, Obama.
You don't know who he is.
Obama.
Liberal nightmare.
Obama
So
picked her.
It was. So in my reception, it was the establishment's pick. The establishment's pick, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
So what do we have? What do we have expect from a candidate who was chosen by the establishment, or what does the establishment expect from such a person? I don't. Maybe this comparison is taken a bit too far, and Amos will protest maybe. But during the Corona times, I had a lot of time, and I watched a lot of mafia documentaries. Because I love the topic.
Me too.
And if you look at this, the structures are similar. If you want so, right?
Gangsters.
The bosses give the direction, and all those guys below them, they have to follow their orders, And as I said in one of the last shows we had, those guys, who have got the money, who got the big money, they don't give a fuck who's president under them.
Yeah.
So don't expect anything from Kamala Harris. She's the establishment's pick, and she will work according to the establishment's orders. Period. My opinion. Jana?
Yeah, I agree. I'm just going to have to agree to disagree with you. I mean, I could go after so many points. Open Secrets has been outed for not accurately reporting. The Green New Deal that the Democrats are toting is the watered down version that actually enriches the oil industry just from a different perspective. I mean, there's lots of things, but you're right. Marcus, what it ultimately comes down to is she will do the bidding of the donor class. She was chosen by Wall Street. She wasn't, but Biden, come on. I don't even think that guy knows he's running for president most days, and she will most likely become president if he is elected, because what's he going to last? 4 hours, 4 days, 4 weeks?
Yes. She is a president, and be assured the establishment knows how the president should work according their orders, as I said.
Just like Obama. Fall
Just
in
like
line, do
Obama,
what we say.
just like Reagan. I remember there's a clip on YouTube where you can see it. I think it was the boss at that time from General Electric. He was giving orders to Ronald Reagan what to do. Hurry up, we gotta go now. Was he quoted there on the podium while Ronald Reagan was giving his speech? You know, it was always the same. You know,
Well, by the way,
Oz first, please.
Okay, great. Now, Amos, I got to compliment you. That was a great presentation. You left a couple of big points out that I'll speak to in just a second. But I could probably take your presentation and offer a much less thoughtful view of each point you made. However, your points are well taken and they're how you feel, and I respect your opinion on that. The big point you left out was Steve Mnuchin.
Yes.
Okay, Steve Mnuchin, why in the hell did she not prosecute clearly criminal actions by Steve Mnuchin? And then we see him donating to her campaign. Once again, it's a big club. Kamala Harris is going to be a sock puppet for the establishment. Is it going to be, is the graph you put up, your political ideological group here, what is this thing again? I have done this several times. Now, I submit to you, I submit to all of you, when you're in the blue, you're in the blue. When you're in the green, you're in the green. Looking at this graph, my interpretation is if you want to unite the country, the best person to serve as president of the United States looks like it's going to be Gravel here. That's going to be Gravel, okay? I wish he was young enough to get into the fight because I'd be voting for him today. Truly, I think he's cut of much better cloth than Bernie Sanders for that, as a matter of fact. But you've painted Kamala Harris in a very thoughtful light here. But the dark money that she gets, she's going to go along to get along. She's going to do what she's told because the prize is in the sky. She is going to be the first female person of color president of the United States, in my opinion. And she's going to be, if she isn't, she's going to be set up to run as the first person of color in the United States. The Medicare for All thing, I absolutely agree with Shanda. It was just jumping on the coattails of the Medicare for All person because so many people have said, I don't give a shit who you give me anymore. If you're not supporting Medicare for All without caveats and use the bully pulpit to give us something that's so desperately needed in this time, you're not getting my vote, whether I vote for Trump, against Trump, or for a Green Party or anybody else. So again, I think selling the idea that Kamala Harris is probably the best of Susan Rice and Karen.
No, that's not what I said.
No. I'm not, and you didn't. I'm not trying to put you in there, but the implication that people may take away from this is she's not so bad. She's very bad because she's a political opportunist, and I don't want to bring in her personal life because I'd like to, how she got to where she is today, because that's proof too. So
An insult to women who've worked their ass off to where they're at.
And I'll only tie that to Bill Clinton. What's the definite of is? It's the same kind of mindset, the same sort of ethical imbalance as far as being a person in power. No matter what they do, they're going to double talk their way out of it. What I did really appreciate in your presentation, other than the structure and the amount of data you brought, and I will dispute a lot of those data sources. I use Open Secrets too. But what you started it off right. You don't like her. None of us like her. Is she going to help the Biden ticket? In my opinion, not really, from what it already was. Okay, so she's not going to bring in Republicans or she's not going to bring in new voters. It is what it is, and they are banking on the same idea they had in 2016. Trump bad, we're great, but we have no policy. If no one deserves to win the presidency more than Biden and Harris on their merits, I don't know who it would be. They are bringing nothing except but Trump. That's it.
Yep. And Russia did it.
Oz, and I don't like her now any more than I liked her before, and Marcus can attest to how hard I took these news.
Yes.
But we have to look at what we can work with, and the question is here: do we compare Trump and his his administration to something that would have Kamala Harris in it, and I think we can work with that more.
How's that worked out? How has that worked out in the past? Honestly,
I think she's sympathetic to some of the things, but she's ultimately the ultimate politician. She's gonna do what benefits her politically, and she's gonna shy away from things that may hurt her politically. And we know that, and we have to work with that. We have to figure out how to use that to our advantage and not lose this battle.
history shows it doesn't work, Amos. That doesn't work.
It does. I see her more as a LBJ kind of character, LBJ kind of politician, and that is someone who has, because nobody knows what to make of her. You guys think that she's like all the way up to the like conservative edge, and some other people think she's on the progressive end, and really, to tell you the truth, nobody really knows for sure. I think these people that are in this position have a much greater chance of moving the needle than other people if they want it. And look at how the civil rights movement was aided to by LBJ, even though he was the least likely candidate to really do so. He was fighting with the Black Caucus and all of that, and at the same time he did advance our politics. So
because of the movement in the streets.
What I'm saying is you have to look at the picture in its entirety.
All right. Well, to finish this topic, yes, it was indeed when the news came up. It did not take long, and I got Amos on the phone, and he was desperate. You know, I never saw him so desperate before, and so I think what he presented today. I love that he's doing this. You know, because you can come to your own conclusion. You know, be it left, center, or right, maybe. You know, but the important thing is, whatever conclusion you come to, you made up your mind, you know, and Amos made up his mind. He came to his conclusion, and I absolutely respect this conclusion. It is not mine. I came to another, but it's like it is, right? You know. So, having said this, you guys are all witnessed what happened in Beirut a little bit more than a week ago. The heavy blast, the big explosion there, and Amos has something to say about in how far this might be a warning for the U.S.
Before we do, I just wanted to comment back to Insight and Jilly and Brahma. I haven't lost my mind. I'm not looking through rose-colored glasses. I fully see the situation, and I'm trying to cope with it, like all of us.
Yes.
Yeah. Based on these last events with the explosion in Beirut, kind of like brought to the front the fact that we're not that far off them. And there was an article in the New York Times, not my favorite publication, but that's the article was an excellent one, and that was about the polarizing and politicization of everything, which happened in Lebanon. And the first thing that happened when the explosion occurred was basically people asking not what happened, but who did it. And it's an indication of where things are. Like people suspecting, is it the Hezbollah? Is it the Syria? Is it Israel? Who blew it up? And the fact that it happened due to corruption finally sank the Lebanese government. But the problem is that we're at a similar state where in the U.S. even the weather has become politicized. Everything's politicized. Everything's looked through the two lenses of the left and the right. And there's no, even as far as where you get your news, what are the news that you're getting? Everything is politicized. I've read somewhere that a third of the country is going to avoid getting a vaccination once it's available because there's a political push for it. I mean, we're at the stage where everything is like, it's so like nobody trusts whatever somebody says. Like, should you wear a mask? Should you not wear a mask? It's not a political issue. It's a scientific issue. But nevertheless, here we are. I don't think that experts are lying. I think that they have no interest communally lying. And basically, that's the situation where where everything's politicized. We can't progress on anything. And it basically destroys everything. It destroys democracy. It destroys the society, and we're at the danger of Lebanonizing, so to speak. We're far down the line, and the only people who really can do something are people who are unlikely or like non-characteristic messengers. You have somebody who's on the right who criticizes Trump, or somebody who's considered very left criticizing the left. Whatever, it's that those are the only voices that are coming through, and it's very sad.
Yes, I only can agree. Especially there is the article we have here where it gets the touch. We are seeing this in America right now, where science, gets put into a position like being a religious belief. You can believe in it or not, and if this fundament is gone, then it's, as I said, it's difficult to get into a debate. All right. Do you have anything to add, guys, to this?
Shanda, before I go off.
Well, I could add a lot to this, but because we're getting very long in the hour, I'm not going to. But I think because of the amount of misinformation in the country right now, it is fed these little facets. Of course, I wear a mask. I support wearing a mask, but I understand the people who say, well, one minute they told us not to wear a mask, the next minute they told us to wear a mask. If you're not involved as much as we are in politics or in the news of the day, I can understand where you're confused. And to say that scientists and doctors aren't selling out, they are. Their patents are owned. Science isn't truth like it used to be.
That's how they get their funding. Again, go ahead.
Sorry, this is a problem. Yeah, when it gets into politics, when you put science into politics. We in Germany, we had the same discussion here. At the beginning, everyone was told, you don't need to wear masks, they have no influence on it. Later it changed, when the science came to further to further facts, around the virus, and they said they recommended from this point on to wear masks, and if you take Germany, for example, where the majority is following those orders, and look at the cases, I think there are no two opinions that masks helped us here in Germany, because the majority wears them when it is needed.
All right. Yeah. My point is, like when we get all patriotic, when we go into these wars of empire and things, some of us anyway, start flying the flag. Well, we're at war with a pandemic. So I'm wearing my mask to let everybody know that I am aware of what's going on, that it's important to show my patriotism in hoping that it will help the public stay healthier or proof themselves a little bit against this enemy, which is the COVID virus. So that's where it is. It has nothing to do with the lying or any of this other stuff. I'm part of the family of human beings on this planet that are trying to do something. That's primarily the reason I wear the fucking mask, other than the fact that it may help somebody, myself, my family, not contract the disease. So get off the mask shit and wear the damn thing like you'd wear anything. That's all. I do want to shout out to the chat. It's been a fantastic fantastic chat today. And there's only two things in my life that really offend me as far as verbiage. And it's when people talk about purity tests and point them at me for wanting to have Medicare for all or do something about the climate change. Well, being that those are kind of like two of the top issues, that I'll wear that as my purity test. And the other thing, and no offense to you at all, Amos, on this, but the term pragmatic to me is kind of a backhanded way of trying to say that you need to be logical about this. It's kind of an indirect insult, but I don't take it because that's not how you mean it.
You shouldn't be logical about it?
No, I think you should be logical about it, but pragmatic is more of a slang word to me in the way it's presented. But it's not. That's not what you mean. I know that. But there are entities like the DNC, the representatives. I've heard that pragmatic horse shit trying to explain away their shitty votes for the last 3 decades. So in that respect, yeah, that's where it gets. So those are two of the biggies for me. But anyway, this Beirut thing, I'll finish up. What I loved about it is all the nooses that they have hanging around their government ready to go. And I think that sends a message. You better get your shit together or get out. And they got out. So again, everybody is lying to a degree. I hope I'm not one of them.
Yes. All right. And I would like to thank Amber King for the $5 she sent us. When science has become a religion, we have lost the scientific principle. Thank you very much, Amber. You're absolutely right. Well, I don't know if Amos would like to talk about diseases swept through the sea. I don't know if you have anything.
I think we'll table that for the next
yes,
time.
I would suggest so. Too. We are going to the good news, finally. And I did not find any good news. Hold on. I got good news. Show the slide, please. Slide 26. Exactly. That's the good news. This, in my opinion, this would have made me crazy if this woman would have become vice president.
Why
This would
not?
have made me really mad.
Why
right?
not? Why?
But by the way, in that one analyze the map of GovTrack map that they analyzed all the Senate people, she was in the 75th place.
Yes.
75th place. And Kamala Harris got how many delegates almost? And how did she...
I agree with you. She's not going to add to
No. She's terrible. Kamala.
I spoke with people who said, well, aren't you happy that it's like finally a black woman?
Is she?
Black strong woman that's... And the thing is, yeah, it's representational. There's some value for it, but that shouldn't be the main thing. The representational aspect of it is just a minor thing. And besides, there was a perfect candidate, in my opinion, that was being vetted at the same time with her, which was
Hillary Clinton,
of which I've talked about in the past. She would have been 100 times better than Kamala, and she was a black, strong woman. So don't talk to me about that.
Shanda, do you want to rebut that or agree? I want to hear.
I'm not going to rebut it because at this point it's moot. But I am going to say that yes, she does have some progressive values. She does have some progressive policy in her background, but she also has one major puppet string puller, and that's Chris Dodd. And if you know who the hell he is and what he's about, it negates everything else.
Yeah. But by the way,
Drop.
Karen Bass, Marcus told me that Nina Turner supported her. So
She
Yes.
did. So did
Yes.
Charlemagne and 100 other leaders of the Black community,
Yeah.
which means she was never viable for them.
Yes, exactly. The Nina Turner endorsement made her.
Killed her. It wiped her out.
Yes.
You're done.
Killed her. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, shit.
All right, guys. We are at the end of the show already, and I have an announcement for the next 2 shows for the next 2 Saturdays. I would not be around because I'm on holidays, and I don't know in how far No Joke would continue for the next 2 weeks. I think Oz and Amos and Shanda will make up their minds and work something out, and yeah, so this means for the next 2 weeks, no Marcus, but I will return, promise. And Oz, is anything else we have in store for the next week? I heard we are going to stream the complete Democratic Convention.
I don't know about that, but we might have an SNL version, something a satire version of the convention on a nightly basis. It's too good to pass up. So I think we might premiere a show that we've got in the works. Shanda, you want to give them the title and see what they think of the show we're putting?
Well, is it Beauty and the Boomer at night?
Yeah, Beauty and the Boomer at night. I think that's
After Dark.
After Dark, yeah. Beauty and the Boomer After Dark, which will feature the Beauty, which is Shanda, and the Boomer, which is me. So that's kind of like two ends of the spectrum. But we hope to bring in comedian people to make it funny. And I think it's a good place to kick off would be the convention because it's a joke. It's a joke. And right today, this weekend, I think something else is going on uphill starting right now. They're doing the California convention delegates. So hop over and see what that's all about. It's today and tomorrow. I wish them luck. I'm interested to see what they've got going. And then, of course, this week it's going to be the Accidental Activists on Friday night. Brave New Future had a great show. You can catch it on Rockfin. Please catch all of our shows on Rockfin, whether it's premium or free. Just sign up through the channel. Give us a couple of more numbers. You don't have to buy anything. So that's about it. And wonderful show. Thank you all. It's been great today. You guys are the smartest people on the planet. Thank you.
Yeah. You too. No, thank you. Well, yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks to Chanda, to Amos, to Oz for doing this with me. Dennis could not be with us today. I hope you'll be at least in 2 or 3 weeks when I'm back. And I hope you enjoy the weekend. Stay safe. Stay at home. Wear masks. I only can say this. And well, we are not going out with a song because YouTube sucks. We know that YouTube sucks because we get constantly now into trouble for playing tunes, and I'm fed up with this shit, so I decided that we are not having an outro song anymore. I hope this situation will change, that maybe we find another place, where we don't have to deal with all this crap.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, with these thoughts, I hope you enjoy the weekend. Thank you very much, and bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, guys. We're going to run the credits anyway, so I'm going to leave the mic a little bit hot. So be careful what you say. You might put yourself in Facebook or YouTube jail. So here we go.
All right.
I just burned myself on my mic.
You just burn yourself on your mic. Don't burn yourself on your mic. Oh, my God. Oh, this is great. Everybody in the chat, you've been just awesome today.
Maybe for the next show when I'm back, we could sing in an outro song.
Yeah, sing an outro song. I think Careless Whisper was a great way to open up that slide.
Not my first choice.
Yeah, I know. Not mine either, but it's still a lot of fun. Thank you to the chat, and please join us again. We always have fun, even when we don't agree. And I think that's about it for today. Thanks, guys. See ya. Bye.
Bye.